welcome to the American Sport Connection. I am your host, the one and only Joey Railroads. I'm here with my buddy Jason. How's it going, dude?
Hey, what's up?
Just trying to make it. This freaking cold, man, has everything sore and achy.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it's got me a little bit under the weather right now.
Yeah,
but
you sound like
then
you have
again,
a head cold.
I don't know. Like it's like in my throat, and then it's in my head, and then it's in my stomach, and then I'm
That sucks.
just like furious.
I hear you. All right, before we get started, if anybody wants to reach us on social media, it's at facebook.com/American Sports Connection or on Twitter at AM Sports Con, CON Pod, POD. Or if you want to get a hold of Jason on Twitter, he's at A Geek of Nature, all one word.
Yep.
All right, so what did you think of the NFL this week?
It was alright. I mean, I watched a lot of the games too. Like I followed like most of what was going on, and it just isn't that great of a week in my opinion. Like the Thursday night game was pretty good. Last night's game was actually really good in my opinion. But other than that, you know, the Eagles game was kind of a stinker, and everything else was kind of eh.
All right, so let's get into it. We have the Panthers surviving over the Saints 23-20.
Yeah, the Saints made that late push, 17 fourth quarter points, unanswered points, but Carolina beat them up enough in the first three quarters to barely hang on. I think, and you'll agree, I think the big thing here, though, is Luke Kuechly, that nasty concussion, that nasty-looking concussion.
Yes.
That's huge for Carolina because he's probably the best linebacker in the NFL right now, and
did he have
to lose him
issues before he was in the league?
Last year I think he had a concussion. I think this is his second concussion in 2 seasons.
Right, I do remember the one last year.
Yeah, he may have had him prior to coming into the NFL, but I know last year he definitely had one. And
okay,
back-to-back seasons with concussions isn't good in this CTE, you know, era of sports. So
yeah. But the Panthers hang on. They're 4-6 now, and they still have an outside chance at the playoffs.
Yeah, in that division especially because the Falcons are a team that tends to flounder late in the year, and Tampa. I mean, they're 5-5, but they're not a good team, you know, by any stretch of the imagination. But we'll see. Yeah, they're 4-6 with the Saints are still 4-6 too, but losing 2 in a row has been rough for them.
Yes.
So,
but finally, a good Thursday night game.
Yeah, for the most part.
Because they've really been duds this year, except for maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah, this week we get 3 Thursday games, so maybe we'll get a good one in there.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have the Steelers pulling away from the Browns 24-9.
Yeah, man, the Steelers did not look very good again, in my opinion. Like, I mean, I expected this to be a little bit worse than it was, I guess. But, you know, and oh, by the way, the big thing I forgot to point out is, well, there was 12 missed extra points this week in the NFL.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it's easily an NFL record for a week, for a day. But back to the Steelers game, I just forgot to throw that in there. I think I actually saw that they're shutting one of their quarterbacks down too, the Browns, right?
Yes.
Was it Kessler? Kessler's getting shut down for the year?
Yeah.
Yeah. But back to the what was it, 24-9 Pittsburgh. It really wasn't a game. I mean, the Browns scored a late touchdown, they scored a fourth quarter touchdown, and then it was 17-9. They were kind of right there, and then McCown fumbled, and it was returned for a touchdown by Javon Hargrave, and that pretty much wrapped the game up. Yeah, it wasn't that great of a game at all.
No, and that's the game no, we did not get that here. I take that back. We usually do get Steelers games.
Yeah, I think we ended up with Baltimore and Dallas, right?
That's the next one I was just getting to.
Yeah.
Dallas basically pulls away from the Ravens in the second half and goes to winning 9 in a row, 27-17.
Yeah, Dak Prescott had a really good second half. Him and Des Bryant hooked up a couple times for touchdowns in the second, and he hit Beasley earlier in the game.
I don't know if you watched this game, but this second half was so annoying because it was almost like they were running the exact same plays and were just like dinking and dunking right down the field, and the dude was just wide open almost every time.
Dallas has weapons, man, and when you have weapons, it's hard to cover them all, and stuff like that becomes open. They're a good team. I'm starting to think that maybe they're a better team than I expected because their defense is holding up a bit now, and that's what I did not expect to happen. But they haven't really beat a very good team yet. Like, they haven't played and beat a good team, in my opinion. I mean, let me hold on one second while we have a second here. Let me look at their schedule and see if they've beaten. Yeah, they beat Chicago, San Francisco, Cincinnati, Green Bay, the Eagles, the Browns, the Steelers, the Ravens. None of those teams stand out to me. Like, their schedule is very weak, and I mean, they play the Redskins on Thanksgiving, Thursday. Then they go to Minnesota, then they go to the Giants. I mean, their schedule isn't anything,
super tough.
Like, if they played Seattle right now, I think Seattle would beat them, in my opinion. And that's probably the team that they have to deal with in the playoffs.
Lance is saying you don't think Cincinnati or Pittsburgh is any good?
No, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh's not any good. Look who they've beaten and look who they've been beaten by. Cincinnati's 3-6-1. There's no way they're any good. And Pittsburgh's 5-5. They were demolished by the Eagles and haven't recovered since.
That's true.
I mean, look who's Pittsburgh's beat. We can get into that. Pittsburgh lost to Miami. Pittsburgh lost to Baltimore. Pittsburgh lost to the Eagles. Pittsburgh, they beat Cincinnati, who aren't good. They destroyed Kansas City, and then they beat the Jets, who aren't good. Neither one of those teams are very good.
But I was surprised how the Ravens almost, I don't want to say fell apart, but their defense just kind of like, as the game went on, just got tired and seemed like they wore out, Yeah,
their defense is getting a little long in the tooth anyway, so they're just, like, I don't know. Baltimore's just not a very good team.
Yeah, they're 5-5, so it's a crapshoot in that division.
It's incredible how many mediocre teams there are in the NFL this year when there aren't really any. Well, there's a couple good teams, but there isn't. Like, how usually each conference has like 3 teams that are like blowing teams away?
Yes.
And right now, the only teams that are blowing people away are the Cowboys, who, like I said, their schedule is a little suspect, but you can only play who's on your schedule, so you have to give them that. Yeah, New England, I think, is probably the 3rd best team. I think New England's better than the Cowboys, to be honest with you, because I can never doubt New England, It's so hard
to just plug in guys and it works.
Yeah, it's just so hard to go out and say, because New England, they lost to Seattle. Seattle, I think, is the best team in the NFC. Until someone can beat their defense and stuff, then, because, like, if you look at Seattle, and I'm sorry we're going way off, but I think we tend to get better views when we do this. Seattle lost to, they lost to New Orleans. New Orleans was on a run at the time when they lost to them, so yeah, whatever. And they lost to... Who did they lose to? Oh, they lost to the Rams at the time, early in the year. So, but if you look if you look at Seattle now, though, Seattle is a totally different team because their running game looked great against the Eagles, and the Eagles have been decent against the run this year, but ProSize broke that.
And you mentioned that Saints game. That was when Russell Wilson was still hurt and was basically immobile.
Yeah, and another thing about Seattle is, too, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham looks healthy now, and that's a big plus for them because that opens up their passing game with even more of a threat, you know?
Yes.
So we'll see. I mean, the playoffs are right around the corner. They're only about a little over a month away. What, 6 weeks away, 5 weeks away?
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens between now and then. And, you know, a lot can change in the NFL.
Oh, hell yeah. All right, next we have the Lions with a late fourth quarter surge to beat Jacksonville 26-19.
Yeah, that's a win that I think the Lions really had to have too going into this week's game with where they're Minnesota. They're playing Minnesota this week on Thanksgiving. Yeah, the Lions are always at home on Thanksgiving, so that's kind of you know, I just kind of remember. I just had to remember who they were playing because I knew where the game was. Yeah, they kind of really could have used this win, and they got it because in that division right now they're in first place, but they're tied with Minnesota. So whoever wins that game this week is first place.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Packers right now, like I can't. The Packers are they're bad.
Mess.
Yeah, they're bad. They have no secondary. Their secondary is just like beat up to just like in pieces. And their offense has just been like, yeah, here's a big play, but it seems like they can't maintain any sort of, you know, former Packers, you know, juggernaut type offense that they used to have.
Their offensive line is a mess too.
Yeah, they released one of their best offensive linemen during the preseason, Josh Sitton, and that didn't help them any.
And then they just had guys being hurt left and right.
Yeah, they're in trouble right now, the Packers. But the Lions, they I don't know if you saw any of that game, dude. No. But the Lions could not run the football at all. It was all Stafford and that passing game.
Yeah, well, I think this is the best his career year. For the Lions, Stafford.
Yeah, well, he had a
season.
Yeah, he has, and it's funny that he has a great season after Megatron leaves.
Yeah, go figure, right?
Yeah.
But big win for them, and they're in control of their own destiny.
Yep.
All right, next we have the Colts surviving a late push by Tennessee 24-17.
Yeah, which is big for the Colts after what happened last night on Monday Night Football for them.
Yeah.
You know, the Texans losing. We'll get into it, but I can just say, because now they're only a game out and they have 2 wins in a row, which at a point, you know, they're 5-5. They were 3-5. It looked like Pagano may be gone, but they seem to always win when he's on the hot seat. And I guess I don't know if that's him being a decent coach at that point, or if it's just like the guys saying, well, you know, maybe we should kick it into gear here. Yeah, but yeah, they won a good game. A late held on late after being up 21-7 at the half. Let's see if anything stood out to me in this game. Mariota had 2 good games. Other than that, it was what's his name? Rashard Matthews, the receiver, had a pretty good day.
And the Colts,
nothing else.
The Colts defense won this game because they stopped the Tennessee on a 4th and 1 on the Colts 19.
Yes, which was huge for them. Oh, sorry.
This was a huge win after finding out that Andrew Luck is not going to play Thursday night.
He's not playing Thursday night?
He's got a concussion.
Yeah, I saw he was in the protocol, and usually if you get hurt on a Sunday, if you're in the protocol, they will not clear you by Thursday.
Yep.
Because Thursday's usually the first day that they think about clearing you. Yeah. And then Friday is usually when they clear you.
Yeah,
but,
everything
man,
I've read is they're expecting him not to play, and that Scott Tolzien will get the start.
Yeah, and I think Pittsburgh will beat him up because I believe that's who they play on Thursday night is Pittsburgh.
Need that game.
Both teams really need it. So,
but big win for the Colts.
Yeah, big loss for the Colts too. With luck,
so it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's kind of rough for them.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have the Bills hanging on to beat Cincinnati 16-12.
Yep. big story out of this game is AJ Green possibly done for the season with a small hamstring tear, a mild hamstring tear, however you want to call it. I don't know. Buffalo Buffalo, like, they're not a bad team, I guess you would say. They're 5-5. They're not in contention for that division anymore. Especially now that the Dolphins have won 5 in a row, it seems like now they want to kick themselves up into a playoff spot. Yeah. But Buffalo's still there. I mean, I'm not going to count them out yet. Like we said, a lot of stuff can happen. You got 6 more games, and if they can, keep the ball rolling, they might be back into it. Did anything stand out to you in this game? Because really, the only thing I did, Carpenter made 3 field goals, pretty much is the difference in the game.
There was another huge loss for the Bengals. They lost Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, he's out for the year now.
That's good for Jeremy Hill owners.
Yeah, if you have Jeremy Hill, you're going to get a heavy dose of him running the football now. He should get it more than 20 times per game now.
Yeah, there's nothing really else. This was like a defensive battle kind of game.
Yeah, it definitely was. And like I said, Carpenter, 3 big field goals late. He hit 2 late, pretty much wins the game for him.
All right, next we have Tampa Bay surprisingly going into Arrowhead and beating the Chiefs 19-17.
Yeah, this game surprised me. I expected Kansas City to win by a couple touchdowns. I thought that their offense would be good enough to just go down the field on Tampa, but Tampa's field goal kicker again. What's his name, Roberto Aguayo or whatever, nails 4 more field goals, and they weren't really the difference. Jameis Winston's touchdown pass to Alan Cross was the difference, but
he's starting to figure it out because remember he was really shaky in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, you're being a little nice there by saying shaky. He was really shitty. Yeah.
Riley's downstairs if you come down.
Okay. Sorry.
You're fine.
Yeah. Somebody just had to tell me something. Yeah, you're right, though. He was. Shaky's a way of saying it nicely.
But that's a big win for them, and now they're at 500.
Yeah, it's crazy how many teams lately are pulling back to 500 in the NFC and in the AFC, or just barely going over 500. Right now you have, let me count them. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams who are either 6-4 or 5-5 right now.
So it's
in the NFL. Jam. It's a logjam in the middle there, and that might decide the playoff spot. Whoever can put together a few wins late might end up sneaking in, or not necessarily sneaking in, but punching their ticket for themselves,
or beating one of the teams that are 6-4 and 5-5.
Yeah, and then you have the Cleveland Browns.
But nothing else really stood out in this game to me. Anything for you?
No, I mean, as a whole, this week didn't really impress me a whole lot. Like we're talking about a little bit ago when you first asked me about the week, nothing really was huge this week to me. I mean, yeah. So no.
All right, moving right along, we have the Giants hanging on and beating the Bears at home 22-16.
Yeah, as a team, the Bears look a little better. If you know what I'm getting at. They're starting to play a little bit better fully as a team. Their defense has looked a little better. They blew it in this game because they were up 16-9 at the half.
Yes.
And they gave up 13 unanswered points in the third quarter, and then nothing at all in the fourth.
God-awful interception on the final drive.
Cutlered, basically, is what you're saying. I saw where...
I've told other people this. I said, he is the Jeff George of this generation.
Fair point. And he may be done for the rest of the year, I saw. He had, was it a shoulder sprain or something?
Torn labrum.
Oh, so he's done. Which won't matter. They're basically just...
they're in tank mode now.
They might as well, yeah. Alshon Jeffrey, gets busted with drugs or whatever, smoking, was it marijuana he got and suspended for?
I think.
Well, either way, he's done for another 3 games. So
yeah, 3 more.
Yeah, it's time for them to pull the plug on this season.
Yeah, they might as well just try and get a top 2 or 3 pick and get your quarterback of the future.
Yeah, they're 2-8. I mean, they're not going anywhere.
No, nothing else noteworthy in this game.
Nothing.
Next, we have the Vikings beating Arizona at home 30-24.
Yeah, I think that we may have picked Arizona to win this game, and I really thought Arizona was going to win this game. Let me see the pick just for the shits and giggles. Yeah, we did both pick Arizona. That'll come later, though. We'll talk about that.
Minnesota was in such like a tailspin.
Yeah, and I thought Arizona really needed to win. I was like, man, and
Palmer looked terrible.
Yeah.
He threw a really bad interception that got returned for a touchdown.
Yeah. I have a question about Arizona, a player on their team, and I want to see if you kind of agree with me. I kind of think that their running back, Johnson, might be the best running back in the NFL right now.
I agree with you.
And I know there's a lot of... Yeah, there's a lot of people who are going to say Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott's a great running back, but he also has the best offensive line in the NFL.
I was going to say David Johnson's doing it with a hell of a lot less.
Yeah, David Johnson seems to just... When they need it, man, he's a monster. That dude is fantastic.
Lance said he thought Arizona just came out flat.
They kind of did because they didn't really do much until late second half, and then late in the game, it's almost like they went into panic mode twice. So Lance is right. They went into panic mode right before the half and scored, and then they came out flat again in the second, like he said, and it was like, let's go into panic mode again. And also a 100-yard interception return for a touchdown by Xavier Rhodes didn't help them any.
Well, and their special teams killed them. They gave up both a kick return and a punt return for a touchdown.
100-plus yards, both of them.
Yep.
104 yards by Cordero Patterson and 100 yards by Xavier Rhodes. And I believe, did they say that's the first time in NFL history that's happened?
Yes.
That there's been 2 returns like that of 100-plus yards in one game?
Yeah.
By the same team in one game, yeah. So, yeah. But right now, Arizona, I'm almost feel safe in saying that their season is possibly 4-5-1. The NFC's not that strong. Let me look at their schedule real quick.
Plus, Bruce Arians was in the hospital, I think it was yesterday, with chest pains.
Yeah, his wife said he's fine. I guess they did test. She posted on Facebook or Twitter or something that he is okay. He'll be back. But I guess when your team's 4-5-1 and you were supposed to be one of the best teams in the NFL, you can get chest pains.
I was going to say it's probably from yelling at him.
Yeah, I don't want to make a joke about that because it's not, the possibility of what it could be isn't funny, but,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that game, though, that was a big win for Minnesota. They really need it, and maybe they can roll it in a short rest against Detroit.
Just looked really bad in that game.
He's aging, and I think his age might be catching up to him now. And coming off of a major injury, too,
Yeah. It's like the title game where he threw all those picks is just carried over this season.
Yep.
All right. Moving
what we got
along,
next?
We had the Dolphins coming from behind in the last, 4 minutes of the game to beat the Rams in L.A.
Yeah, big fold up by the defense, by the Rams defense, and hey, kudos to Ryan Tannehill. I've been the kind of guy who I like Tannehill. I don't think he's bad. I think he could use more weapons down there, maybe a better offensive line, but the guy can win some football games now and then, man. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. But
now that they got that running back, Ajayi, to kind of take the pressure off of him, that helps.
Yeah, which I don't think they ran the ball enough with him on
I agree
Sunday,
with
by
that.
the way. He only got 16 carries, and he had a 4.8 yard average. Well, he did have one 36-yard run, which was half of what he had, basically. But, yeah, man, I'm a Tannehill fan. I don't think Tannehill is a bad quarterback, and I think he showed on Sunday. He's won 5 games in a row now, and his 5th game Sunday, he came back, like you said, in the last 4 minutes. He threw the game-winning touchdown and with 36 seconds left to Devontae Parker. I like Tannehill. I think the Dolphins could cause a little chaos in the playoff picture going forward, but we'll see. Nothing big stood out in this game, though. I don't know if you have anything.
No, Lance is saying he doesn't understand why they got rid of Lamar Miller unless they wanted this Ajayi.
I think it was money with Miller. Houston decided they wanted to open up their
checkbook
pretty big, and as Osweiler, $72 million man. But yeah, and it could be Ajayi. They may have known what they had, and shit, they got something pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have the Patriots eventually pulling away from San Francisco, 30-17.
Yeah, I think the Patriots kind of got that West Coast travel hangover, I guess you would call it.
They were in like a fog, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, that's fair to say. And then Tom Brady decided it was his day.
Yeah, it was like 13-10, and then they got into the fourth quarter, and Brady's just like boom, 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 and then like three scores out of nowhere.
Yeah, Tom Terrific ripped his shirt open and showed his Superman logo on his chest, and decided that was it for the 49ers. He decided the playing games were over, and it seems that's what Brady does. He's got a career of it. But yeah, he had 4 touchdown passes. Edelman, Amendola, Malcolm Mitchell, and James White, all the recipients of his touchdown passes.
Yeah, they didn't even need Gronk.
No, not against San Francisco.
There's nothing really else to say about this one.
No. LeGarrette Blount had another good day, 124 yards rushing.
Okay.
He's turned himself into one of the better running backs in the league.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, next we have Seattle pulling away from the Eagles in Seattle, 26-15.
Yeah. This game just... what are you going to say? Seattle's defense did what I expected.
Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, well, 2 more words. Seattle defense. I mean, hey, look. Let's put it like this. Eagles had a lot of guys open. Wentz missed a few gimmies, and a few receivers missed a few gimme catches. And when you do that against Seattle, you can't win at all.
No, it's true. Plus, the whole thing with Aguilar with the penalty costing them a touchdown and then dropping a wide open ball doesn't help.
Yeah, I don't understand how, he's stupid. I don't want to be rude or anything, but he's a moron. The guy has his head coach and the official. The official was telling him to move up onto the line of scrimmage to cover the tackle, and he still didn't do it. And then he misses a ball that's in his hands that could have possibly been a touchdown.
Yes.
Because the ball was right on the money. He had room.
Yeah. Lance says, are the Eagles done because they're last in the East and they're... I think he's saying they're kind of far out from the wild card.
Well, they're not really that far out from the wild card because earlier how I was mentioning that all those teams have those records, and they only need to catch basically Washington, which they're only a game and a half behind right now. No, they're not out, and the only reason I say that is because the Eagles finish at home with 4 straight games, and the Eagles haven't lost at home this year.
Yeah,
when you see the Eagles,
6 are at home.
Yeah, when you see the Eagles on the road, you're getting a totally different team. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? No, I don't. I'll go out and I'll say no. I mean, a lot of Eagles fans will say, "Oh, you're not loyal." I'm a loyal Eagles fan. I'm a diehard Eagles fan.
Yeah.
But I'm also not an idiot. I use my brain and not my heart. They're not out of it, but in my opinion,
difficult.
they might as well be out of it. Yeah, because let me go through their schedule real quick and we'll see. They play Green Bay at home this week. That's a game they can win, obviously.
Yes.
Monday Night Football, it's on Monday night. They play at Cincinnati.
Winnable
That's a game they can win. Yeah, especially, no A.J. Green. They can win that game. No Giovanni Bernard.
Yeah.
They play Washington at home. They almost beat Washington and Washington.
That was
they play Baltimore.
Game. Yeah.
Yeah, they play Baltimore on the road.
That's
5-5 against 5-5, winnable game.
Yeah.
They play Washington at home. They almost beat Washington on the road. And then they play Dallas at home. They had Dallas beat and blew it on the road.
Yeah. So every game's a winnable game.
Yeah. Are they going to win all 6?
Probably
no.
not.
But could they win 4 or 5?
Yeah.
It's possible. Do I think they're going to? No. I think the Eagles finish 8-8. That's my opinion.
I'll say best case 9-7, maybe 10-6 if you're lucky.
Yeah, I say 8-8. I'm just going to go out and say 8-8. I think they have 3 more wins in them somewhere in there. I think they win Monday night. I think they'll beat
Cincinnati because they're a mess right now.
I'm afraid to say that. I think they'll end up beating the Giants or the Redskins. Maybe Dallas has the division wrapped and don't care, and they beat Dallas at home. Or maybe they beat Dallas. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Eagles team is going to show up. That's my thing.
Like Lance just said, we definitely need to beat the Redskins for the tiebreaker.
Yeah, and the Giants too. They have to beat. They have to win those games. They have to.
I agree.
Because remember, one more thing real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember, if Dallas wins the division, our record in division no longer matters. It's our record in conference and against them that matters.
Yes.
So if we lose to Dallas the last week and we're still tied after beating the Giants and Redskins, it doesn't come down to division anymore. It
comes down to conference.
Yes, it comes down to conference at that point.
Okay, good to know.
Yep.
All right, moving on, we have the Sunday night game where the Redskins put a whooping on the Packers, 42-24.
Yeah, I'm not going to say this was a whooping because it was a 24-29 game until 4 minutes left.
That's true.
So,
I mean, if you just looked at the score, you would say, oh, well, the Packers got their ass kicked.
Oh, absolutely. But that really wasn't the case. Green Bay played decent until late, and then their defense just could not do anything.
Because they're just devastated with injuries, like you said, in the secondary.
Their secondary is probably the worst in the NFL right now because a lot of people might say Cleveland's winless, but they have Joe Hayden. So
at least they have talent.
Yeah, Cleveland's just a mess everywhere else. But yeah, I think this is the game where I think if Wentz is going to come out big, Monday night I think is going to be when he comes out big and has another big game. You know,
and maybe kind of help rebuild his confidence.
Yeah, because he's been throwing some bad interceptions lately. I think though that this might be the game where Wentz. Well, let's get back to this Redskins game real quick. Anyway, I'm going way off track today.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think that Green Bay.
They're done.
They're done. Yeah, I think they're done.
The guy that impresses me for the Redskins is Crowder, the wide receiver. He's turned into their go-to guy. Yeah,
they have some talent, man. The Redskins. Well, they have 2 free agent receivers too, Garcon and Deshaun Jackson. So it doesn't surprise me that you see them using a couple guys a little bit more because I think at this point they have to start approaching it as life without those 2 going forward because I don't know if they're going to have the money to keep Cousins and 2 receivers.
Yeah, well, you figure if you kept Crowder and then you have Jordan Reed who's emerging as a top 3, maybe top 5 tight end.
Yeah, he's right up there. He's a little bit behind Gronk and maybe Jimmy Graham when he's healthy.
So that might help cover the loss of potentially losing them both.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't mean to talk bad about the Redskins and like Kirk Cousins. It's just like sometimes I don't see it. I'm just like, wow, they're 6-3-1, and it's just they win, and I don't know how. a lot of
They
times.
Perseverance, man. They're a team that when they're up against it, they make a big play and they pull the game out. And kudos to them for doing that.
Yeah, I just feel bad for Green Bay because it's like somebody's going to get their head chopped, because of this. And it's, in a way, it's their fault, but in another way, it's not, because you can't help when you get devastated by injury.
Yeah, their team too. Like we've talked about this the last week, I think maybe even the week before. They're getting up there too, man. They're aging. Injuries are depleting already. Team that I think is on the back half of their careers. Yeah, they're just not the Green Bay Packers anymore, man. They're not your father's Packers, I guess you would call them.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, and last we had the final game in the international series. It was played in Mexico last night. The Raiders pull one out late to win over Houston 27-20.
Yeah, I think the big thing about this game is, and sorry, I'm like switching rooms, so I might sound a little different, hollow.
Okay.
I think the big thing about this game is that the officiating a little late wasn't that great in this game.
Some of these, dude, didn't we talk about this earlier in the season? Spots that referees are saying a guy goes down at has been terrible this year.
Yeah, and I think there was 2 last night on the last drive for Houston late that weren't very good. I think he got the first down twice on that drive at the end.
Yeah, I do too. The other thing that was a head scratcher to me was Bill O'Brien on that 4th and 4 with like 3 minutes or so, a little over 3 minutes punting and just basically conceding the game almost.
Well, in his defense, they're supposed to have a good defense.
That's true. But I'm never a fan of giving the ball back late and hoping your defense can do something.
Well, what happened is their tackling just disappeared. Like on that play to that Alawali dude, Jamiz Alawali.
I saw that. Their running backs had 200 receiving yards last night.
Yeah, they had, 180 yards after catch, the receivers for the Raiders.
Yeah.
It was not a very good game if you're a Houston Texans defense fan late.
Lance said, did you read a report that there was a laser light in Osweiler's face all game?
I saw that on Deadspin, where if you watch one of the replays, there was a laser on him when he was throwing the football. It was like, I believe it was green. It was a green-colored laser.
And he was like, the NFL needs to get better security.
Yeah. See, a lot of people are saying that may have been a camera thing, but
I've never seen.
I don't think it was. Yeah, I don't think it was. That was weird.
But it was either way. It was a fun game, but that stadium just looked like a dump.
Well, it's come on. I mean,
not to be mean.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, dude?
I guess the NFL was trying to do something different as opposed to just having another game in London.
Well, where I think they failed big with that is the Raiders are selling out huge right now, and you basically cost their fan base a home game by going down there. I know in the past.
Yeah, because they're 8-2 and could potentially be the top seed in the AFC if things break a certain way.
I know in the past people have been like, the Raiders haven't been that good of a team, and maybe they're not going to sell out, and, let's take a primetime game down to Monday night and guarantee we get big money. Well, that Monday Night Football game, I think, would have been more in attendance at the Coliseum. I think the Coliseum holds more.
They probably pulled huge ratings from that game because the Raiders are relevant again.
Yeah, the Raiders are very relevant.
Which is good for them because my friend Adam has like been a long-suffering Raiders fan for like a decade.
Yeah, Candace's dad's a Raiders fan, so imagine how he feels.
All right, so how did we do in the picks this week before we make our picks for next week?
All right, I just got back to get my book. Let's see. You got me by 1 pick this week again. Okay. Well, last week we tied, actually, so we've been close, man.
Lance said before we go with the picks, it says it looks like Oakland got their money to build the stadium today.
Did they? Because that would be awesome.
Let me see if I can look this up while you're looking at that. I'm looking. Let me see if I can pull it up. Go to Google. Because I haven't heard anything, but that doesn't mean it's not true. Let's see.
I don't see anything, but that's you know.
Just because you don't see anything doesn't mean it's not true.
Oakland Raiders
Mayor
Stadium
pushes forward plan for Raiders Stadium.
Yeah, framework deal reached to keep Raiders in Oakland. There you go.
Good for them.
Yeah, great for them.
They belong in Oakland.
Yeah, they're the Oakland Raiders, man. That's where they should be, you know?
Could you imagine, though? It's funny to me if they did go to Las Vegas, if they had, like, the Raiders team from the 70s in Las Vegas, that would be a nightmare.
You can't say that. That stuff didn't happen. According to the NFL, that stuff didn't happen.
That's funny.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I agree. Though, good for them, man. The Raiders deserve to be in Oakland. That's where that team should be. That fan base deserves their team, especially now that they're winning. It'd be devastating if they left Oakland with a winning team.
Yeah.
All right.
You said I bested you by 1 last week.
Yeah, I had 6 losses. You had 5. I lost New Orleans. You won that with Carolina. We both lost Cincinnati. We both lost Tennessee. We both lost Kansas City. Oh, we both lost. Let me say. We both lost Cincinnati to Buffalo. We both lost Tennessee to the Colts. I don't know why I picked Tennessee. We both lost Kansas City to Tampa. We both lost Arizona to Minnesota, and we both lost Green Bay to Washington.
Okay.
So 6 for me, 5 for you. All right, getting to this week, we have 3 Thursday games because of Turkey Day. Which I think Lance was last month. I think is Thanksgiving in Canada.
Yes.
All right, Minnesota at Detroit.
I'll go Detroit at home.
All right, I'm taking Minnesota. I think they got to win. I think they're going to roll again. Washington at Dallas.
I have to pick Dallas because I just can't see the Redskins beating them.
I agree. Pittsburgh at Indianapolis.
Well, if Luck isn't playing and that's true, then the Steelers are going to roll.
Okay. Arizona at Atlanta.
Ooh. I'll take Atlanta because they play better at home.
I'm going to take Arizona for the upset, just for shits and giggles.
Okay.
Jacksonville at Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Okay.
No explanation needed.
Tennessee at Chicago.
Ooh, Tennessee. I think they're a little bit better.
We agree on that one. Here we go. Lock of the week. The New York Giants at the Cleveland Browns.
The New York Football Giants.
There you go. San Francisco at Miami.
Miami should win this game, but they kind of gave you a scare last week where they almost lost to the Rams.
Yeah, they've won 5 in a row. I'm taking Miami. You got them too?
Yeah.
Okay. The Rams at the New Orleans Saints.
I'll take the Saints because they're usually better at home.
Yeah. Cincinnati at Baltimore.
I'll go Baltimore.
Yeah, we both agree on that one. San Diego at Houston.
I'll go Houston. I think they'll rebound.
I think they need to win too. Seattle at Tampa Bay.
I think Seattle will win because they'll give Winston fits because they seem to do that with even veteran quarterbacks, let alone young ones.
Yeah. Carolina at Oakland.
I'll go with the Raiders because I don't think Kuechly's going to play, and that's a huge loss.
Yep, agreed on that one. Patriots at the Jets.
I'm taking the Patriots, but I think the Jets will give them a game because they always seem to.
Okay. Sunday night here. Kansas City at Denver.
Ooh. I will go Denver just because they're home.
Yeah, I think Kansas City is not. I think they're going to start falling off a little bit, to be honest with you. I don't really know why I'm going to say that, but after this week, I think they're a little. All right, Monday night, the final game.
Lance is picking Carolina over Oakland this week.
Okay.
That should be an interesting one, I think. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me make a note of that. Lance takes Carolina. All right, I'll write that down next to it. Green Bay at Philadelphia.
I think the Eagles will probably have their best offensive output of the season and will win handily.
I don't disagree. I think I don't know. I'm taking the Eagles, though.
I say this is because I think the Packers have given up 40 points 3 weeks in a row, or at least 2.
It makes sense.
So I'm like, I hate to say lock, but I think the Eagles will win handily.
All right, let me go over the picks real quick here. I have Minnesota. You have Detroit. We both have Dallas beating Washington. We both have Pittsburgh beating the Colts. I have Arizona. You have Atlanta. We both have Buffalo over Jacksonville. We both have Tennessee over Chicago. We both have the Giants over Cleveland. We both have Miami over San Fran. We both have New Orleans over the Rams. We both have Baltimore over Cincy. We both have Houston over San Diego. We both have Seattle over Tampa. We both have Oakland over Carolina, but Lance thinks Carolina wins. We both have New England over the Jets. We both have Denver over Kansas City, and we both have the Eagles on Monday night over Green Bay.
Sounds good.
And that's a wrap on the week picks.
And since we won't be back before, or it'll be after Thanksgiving next week, anyone that's listening, we hope you all have a nice Thanksgiving. Excuse me.
Happy and healthy Thanksgiving.
Yes. All right, we're going to get out of here for today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, thumbs up, all that stuff. And we'll see you back next week. Have a good day, everybody.